When most people think of Iceland, they imagine perfection, a country where waterfalls fall from the sky, where volcanoes sleep beneath glaciers, where the northern lights dance across endless winter nights. A place that feels less like Earth and more like another planet. Millions of photographs have turned Iceland into a dream of freedom, a dream of untouched nature, a dream of adventure. But photographs never tell the full story. Because beyond the postcard landscapes, beyond the luxury travel videos, beyond the drone shots and social media filters, there is another Iceland. A quieter Iceland, a harder Iceland. An Iceland built not by tourists but by people who live here every day. People who wake up before sunrise during storms. People who spend months in darkness. People who have learned to survive on the edge of the Arctic. And among them, there is one man, a shepherd. Not the kind that appears in travel brochures, not the kind tourists come to photograph, but a man whose life still follows rhythms that have existed for centuries. Every autumn he leads his goats through mountains carved by ice, past waterfalls older than human history, across valleys where legends still whisper through the fog, toward an old turf-roof house that has watched generations come and go. His story is also Iceland's story. A story about isolation, about resilience, about loneliness, about belonging. Because living in Iceland is not simply about surviving nature, it is about becoming part of it. And before this documentary ends, you will discover why many Icelanders willingly choose a life that most of the world would find impossible. A choice connected to an ancient belief, a hidden fear, and a mystery that still influences life in Iceland today. But first, we need to leave the cities behind and follow a shepherd into the mountains. The man who walks with the wind arrives before the sun. It always does. In this part of Iceland, the weather makes the rules. And nobody understands that better than Guðmundur. For nearly 70 years he has lived among these mountains. Not beside them, not near them, among them. The mountains decide when work begins. The mountains decide when travel is possible. The mountains decide whether a winter will be gentle or merciless. Every morning begins the same way. Before breakfast, before conversation, before checking the news, he steps outside and listens. The sound of the wind tells him everything. A skill inherited from people who lived long before weather forecasts existed. His grandfather could predict storms by studying clouds. His father could smell rain before it arrived, and Guðmundur learned both. In Iceland, nature is not scenery. Nature is information. Nature is survival. Today seems calm. But calm never lasts long here. Nothing does, except the land itself. The goats begin moving, slowly, patiently, the same route they have followed for generations. Toward higher ground, toward grazing fields hidden among volcanic ridges. toward a waterfall that locals have known for centuries. Tourists see beauty. Guðmundur sees memory. His father brought him here, his grandfather brought his father, and now he walks alone. Because many young Icelanders leave, not because they dislike Iceland, but because modern life pulls them elsewhere. Universities, technology jobs, businesses, cities, the same story repeated across the world. Yet some remain, and those who remain carry traditions that refuse to disappear. Iceland has changed rapidly. For most of its history, life was difficult, extremely difficult. Isolation shaped everything. The island sits alone in the North Atlantic. Hundreds of kilometers from neighboring countries. For centuries, storms could cut communities off from the outside world for months. Food was scarce, winters were brutal. Volcanic eruptions could destroy entire regions, and yet people stayed, generation after generation. Building lives on land that often seemed determined to push them away. That stubbornness became part of Icelandic identity. Not loud stubbornness, not aggressive stubbornness, quiet stubbornness. The kind that simply refuses to give up, and perhaps no profession represents that spirit better than shepherds. Hours pass, the climb becomes steeper, the air becomes colder. But Guðmundur never rushes, because rushing is a mistake in Iceland. Nature rewards patience. Impatience leads to accidents. The mountains have taught that lesson many times, and eventually the waterfall appears. Massive, ancient, powerful, a river suddenly falling into emptiness. The sound fills the valley. Roar so deep it feels alive. Tourists stop here for photographs. Guðmundur stops for something else. Respect, because Icelanders often develop unusual relationships with landscapes. Places are not merely locations, they become companions, witnesses, parts of personal history. This waterfall has watched every stage of his life, his childhood, his marriage, the birth of his children, the death of his parents. Every year it remains. Every year he returns. And somehow that continuity matters, especially in a world changing faster than ever before. Many people assume Icelanders feel isolated because they live far from the rest of the world, but the truth is more complicated. Sometimes isolation creates connection, not with people, but with place. A connection difficult to explain, and impossible to manufacture. You either develop it or you don't. For Guðmundur, it has become part of who he is: the mountain, the waterfall, the goats, the weather. Remove any one of them, and something essential disappears. By afternoon, the shepherd reaches home, and home looks almost invisible, because it was designed that way. At first glance, the building seems part of the hill itself, as if nature swallowed it long ago. But this is no ruin. This is one of Iceland's most remarkable traditions. The turf house, a form of architecture born from necessity, and perfected through centuries of survival. Trees have always been scarce in Iceland. Stone was limited, winter temperatures were unforgiving. So Icelanders adapted. They used Earth itself as insulation. Thick walls of turf protected families from Arctic winds, keeping warmth inside, keeping death outside. For hundreds of years, entire generations lived in homes like these. Small, dark, crowded, yet surprisingly effective. The house became a shield against the world, a place where stories survived long winters. And stories mattered deeply in Iceland, perhaps more than anywhere else. Because isolation created storytellers. When storms trapped families indoors, stories became entertainment. Education, history, identity, entire evenings could disappear into tales of heroes, monsters, ghosts, and creatures that many Icelanders still hesitate to dismiss completely. Creatures hidden among rocks. Creatures hidden in mountains, creatures known as the hidden people. And their influence on Iceland remains surprisingly real. But that story comes later. Because before we explore Iceland's folklore, we need to understand something even more important: the loneliness. The kind of loneliness that arrives when winter takes control, the kind that transforms an entire nation. And the reason why some Icelanders say the hardest part of living here is not the cold, not the storms, not the darkness, but something much deeper, something invisible. And when winter arrives, you'll understand exactly what they mean. There is a moment every year in Iceland when people begin to notice it. Not tourists, not visitors, the people who actually live here, the shepherds, the fishermen, the teachers, the nurses, the mechanics. The families living hours away from the nearest city. It begins quietly. The sun starts arriving later, leaving earlier. Days become shorter, shadows become longer. The mountains swallow sunlight before evening even arrives. At first, nobody talks about it, because everyone knows what comes next. Winter, not the romantic winter seen in travel advertisements, not the magical snow-covered fantasy sold to millions of visitors. The real winter, the one Icelanders prepare for months in advance, the one that has shaped their culture for over 1,000 years, the one that tests people in ways outsiders rarely understand. For Guðmundur, preparation begins long before the first snowflake falls. Winter is not an event, it is a season of strategy. Every bale of hay matters, every repair matters, every supply matters. Because once the storms begin, mistakes become expensive, sometimes dangerous, sometimes fatal. The goats must be protected, the roof must be checked, food must be stored, generators must work, vehicles must be ready. In Iceland, self-reliance is not a lifestyle trend. It is a survival skill. And although modern technology has made life easier, nature still holds the final vote. As winter advances, something extraordinary happens. The world becomes smaller, roads close, travel becomes difficult, entire regions can become isolated. A simple trip that takes 20 minutes during summer may become impossible during winter. The island begins to shrink. Not geographically. Psychologically, people stay indoors more often. Conversations become longer. Families spend more time together. Communities become more important. Because when nature becomes hostile, people become each other's shelter. But there is another challenge. A challenge that cannot be solved with warm clothing, or emergency supplies, or stronger buildings. Darkness in some parts of Iceland during winter, the sun barely appears, and when it does, it feels less like daytime and more like a prolonged sunrise. The light arrives gently, briefly, almost apologetically, then disappears again. Imagine waking up in darkness, going to work in darkness, returning home in darkness for weeks, for months. Imagine the sky remaining grey for so long that you begin forgetting vibrant colours. Imagine seeing the sun become a rare visitor, a guest that never stays long. This is reality for many Icelanders, and despite centuries of experience, it still affects them. The human brain evolved beneath sunlight. We are creatures of daylight. Light regulates sleep, mood, energy, motivation. Remove enough of it, and something changes. Many Icelanders openly discuss winter depression, seasonal fatigue, emotional exhaustion, not because they are weak, but because they are human.